Hi there, my name is Marley and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be starting up a new reading vlog, and the theme today is to read literary fiction novels. So I'm going to be telling you about the three pretty popular literary fiction novels that I'm going to be reading this week. I'm very excited. I think this will be an emotional vlog as the topics of these books seem like they could elicit tears, which not many books have been making me cry yet this year. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. But basically they are just a few popular books I've been hearing about over the last couple of years that I just really want to get to. While you're here, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I upload new bookish videos every single week, so you don't want to miss them. First of all, let's just talk about Beartown by Fredrick Backman. Fredrick Backman's pretty big on BookTube, and I've only read his book Anxious People so far, which came out last year, but this is probably his most popular book. I think it even has an adaptation as well that I would like to watch, but it is about this town called Beartown. It doesn't have much going for it except for its hockey team, so they really pride themselves on the success of their hockey team. But then when a young teenage girl comes out saying that she was sexually assaulted by one of the hockey team members, it becomes a big thing in the town, as people don't want to believe that, you know, their star hockey player did something so terrible. So I think it's really just about rape culture, and this is definitely the one that I think will be the most emotional. Similar to Anxious People, I believe this has POVs from a number of different people in the town, so it should be pretty interesting. Then I want to get to Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste. This also has an adaptation, kind of a theme here. I'm not super clear on what this is about. Originally I thought this was a thriller, and then I heard it was more of just like a lit fic. It's obviously about these two women, again, in this like small town, and I think it has to do with like secrets and motherhood. I don't really know, we'll find out later. And then the last one is Eleanor, Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. I know this one is about obviously Eleanor, and she's a very awkward sort of individual, has a pretty like lonely routine life until she meets this man named Raymond, I think at her work, and then they, I think, start to have a romance. So I really love that. I look forward to reading about quirky, relatable characters, and I feel like the romance will be really, really sweet in this one. So that is the intro. Hope you enjoy the rest of this vlog, and hopefully I enjoy these books. I can tell you a little bit more about them as we go. I'm so hot right now. It's brutal. Anyways, Little Fires Everywhere, that is my current read. It's a bit of a slow reading week for me. It's the end of the month, it's the last week of the month, and I feel like I've read myself into exhaustion with the tarot readathon and Summerween earlier this month. I think I've read at least 8 books, so feeling a little tired, but you know what? 3 more books, we can do it. I've been reading Little Fires Everywhere, and I'm over halfway, and it's Wednesday. I'll admit that it did take me a little while to get into this book, but I feel like I say that about like almost every book, so take that with a grain of salt. The writing style kind of reminded me of like an older classic book, because the narration, I think it's called like omniscient. I should probably know this, but it's like where you go into every single character's head and have their point of view all kind of mixed in together. I don't know why it reminds me of like a book I would read in school, like an older classic book. Maybe they have that narration a lot, but that's kind of what it reminded me of. So I was a little bit turned off, but it has gotten so much better. I find that now the writing is just like very addictive and very easy to get through. I read most of this like last night. Anyways, I'm coming to understand what it's about more, but I see why the description is sort of vague, as we're following these two families led by Mrs. Richardson and then Mia Warren, I think. Obviously this family is like the more traditional rich family. They have 4 children in high school, and then Mia is someone who is an artist, so she's always kind of been struggling to get by financially, and she's always moving around as well, and she just has one daughter named Pearl, and she starts living in like their other property, like they're her landlords. So her daughter is like always going over to their house. Then one of her daughters starts becoming obsessed with her and always going over to her house. And so it's just kind of like the two families' interactions with each other. There is sort of like a thriller aspect to it in that there's a mystery. It's not really thrilling, but there is a mystery surrounding things with Mia and her past, and Elena is trying to uncover it, kind of thing. So I hope that it's a good twist. I hope that it's a good reveal, whatever her past is, because if it's not, then like this book is gonna flop a little, because not that much is going on. It's just, again, about these two families and like their lives and the multiple generations. So I feel like it does need a kind of good twist to like make it be really special. There must be, because like it gets a TV show and stuff, so it must be good. But I'll let you guys know I am enjoying it. I'm just kind of like waiting for the more like dramatic things to happen. Oh, and then at the very beginning of the book, we did see that there was a fire at the Richardson house, and it seemed like it was done on purpose. So then we like flashed back, so we're leading up to that house fire and seeing what's gonna happen. So that should be more exciting. I'm interested to know who set the fires, because there were a bunch of little fires everywhere in the house, which I think shows that someone did it on purpose, right? So that's this book. Because it's good writing, I'm leaning towards a 4-star right now, but depending on what happens with like the action and the climax, could be a 5, could be a 4, we will see. Hey vlog. So I finished Little Fires Everywhere and I gave it 3.5 stars on Goodreads. So as you can tell, I am a little bit disappointed by it. In my last update, I talked about how I was like waiting for that big thing to happen to push it over the edge to be like a really good book, and I just don't feel like anything really happened that was super dramatic. It kind of goes with the title of like Little Fires Everywhere. Like there was little things, little dramas everywhere, but not like a big thing or like a big twist or anything, which maybe was my fault for expecting some sort of twist as if it were a thriller. But it was still good. As I said, like the writing was really good. I liked the relationships and the themes. There were, as I already said, themes of like motherhood and how to raise your kids and stuff, and then there were like racism themes, classism themes, stuff like that are interesting to read about, but it just kind of wasn't what I was expecting and left me like wanting a little bit more than what it gave me. So 3.5 for this one. Then I started reading Beartown by Fredrick, Backman, and I'm about 100 pages in. And obviously I hear really good things about this, and I really think it will be good. But I think I had this problem with Anxious People, I think, where it was like a slow build up for me to get into it, which is definitely happening in this one. We are just having, oh my gosh, they're just describing so much about this town, Beartown, and having such a big focus on hockey, which I should have known like going into this, but I don't normally read books about sports or do anything with sports, watch them or anything. So like reading about hockey so much is a little bit boring. There's so many male characters, like, ugh. But yeah, so we're following a bunch of different characters in this town, whether it's like the coaches of the hockey teams, the players, or like the other family members related to the team members. The family we're focusing on the most is the general manager of the team, and then his wife, and then his kids. They're like the main family, but then we're also following like the guy who's like the best hockey player on the team and stuff like that. And we're just sort of like establishing everything, I guess, and how much the town loves hockey and like relies on it. Like they're pretty desperate for their hockey team to do well so that the town can kind of like get back on the map and get more tourism and jobs and stuff like that. The dramatic event that happened to a young girl has not happened yet, so we really haven't even got into the meat of the plot yet. So it's definitely dragging a little bit for me. This doesn't seem like it's gonna be the best reading blog. Maybe literary fiction is not really for me. I mean, I never really thought it was my favorite genre anyway, and feel like that's kind of proving to be true. But I feel like because we're having so much development of the characters, it will pay off in the end when we get to more of the drama. But I just wish I wasn't reading about hockey. Also, they keep mentioning Canada in this book because obviously like hockey's big in Canada. So like the family used to live in Canada, which is where I'm from. But I'm just like, where in Canada? Like they just keep saying Canada, Canada. And it's like, you know, Canada is like a big country, right? Well, not that big, but like, I'm just kind of like, where in Canada is it? Like I feel like if it was another country, you would say the city as well. Just a random note. Okay, so this book has gotten a lot better since the first half of the book. I was really struggling in the first half, I have to admit. As you guys saw, I was really tired of hearing so much about hockey
and just all these male characters.
But I see the point of it, like how he was really just setting up how important hockey was to all these guys and how it's impacted their lives. Then the assault happened about halfway through the book. It made the book a lot better. Obviously, it's like really upsetting. It's so frustrating, as you guys have seen cases like this in real life happen where an athlete sexually assaults a girl and suddenly it's the guy that's the victim because his life's being ruined because she's coming forward about the assault. And it's just so messed up because obviously the girl is a victim and people are not believing her and stuff like that. Like that's what this book is. And so it's really upsetting. It's good, like it's interesting to read, it's compelling, but it's really, really upsetting and frustrating as the whole town like turns against her because he's the best guy on the hockey team and he is going to be successful and bring success to the town, and she's just doing it because she's like jealous and or changed her mind, all the typical things in rape culture. I'm very close to the end now. Hopefully I will finish this up before the plans I have for today start. But yeah, I see why this is so beloved now. It took a while, but yeah, just seeing how this assault affects everyone in the town is really interesting. Like it's not just the girl that's the victim, it's, you know, it's her family, it's her friends. Like it's so upsetting. So we'll see how it ends, if it's gonna end on more of like a heartwarming note or if it's gonna be really tragic. I feel like there's gonna be some tragedy. Hey, so you guys saw some of my excursion yesterday. I went to a bunch of used bookstores in Toronto and got, I think, like 7 books. And it was so exhausting, but it was fun. But I got blisters on my feet, like we were walking all around downtown, and it was a bit of a struggle. But yeah, you guys saw the books I got. I find that it's just easy to find thriller books at used bookstores, but it's kind of hard to find any other genre. So I'm really stocking up on thriller books right now. But yeah, I finished Beartown the other day, and as I kind of already said, I really, really loved it. I gave it 4.5 stars, I believe, just docking a 0.5 for the fact that the beginning was more difficult to get through. But it really is an amazing book and made me feel so many things, so many emotions, and I really would recommend that book to people if it sounded interesting to you or if you want more of like a serious topic to read about. I also really liked how real it felt. I think Fredrick Backman's really good at creating these very interesting real characters, especially the one couple in the book. It was the general manager and his wife. I just found their relationship to be really beautiful. But anyways, then I started Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. I'm halfway through now, and I have to say, I feel like I'm saying this with like every book I read, but I was a little bit put off by the beginning of the book. This is a British book, and British humor, as probably many people know, can be a little bit like odd sometimes, or it kind of takes some getting used to. I've read quite a few British books before. It's just like it's just a different type of humor than if you read like an American book or something. But I have to say that now that I'm halfway, I've like adjusted to it, and now I'm actually finding it quite funny, where at first I was feeling more annoyed. Now I'm actually finding it more funny and more endearing. Eleanor, as I've said, is someone who really like sticks with her routine. She has a pretty lonely life and not really many people in it, and she like struggles socially a little bit. She has social anxieties and social awkwardness, so I find that that can definitely be relatable. Like if you're someone who struggles with that, you like reading about relatable characters, then you could check this out. I kind of like how this book has like kind of a bit of a mystery to it. I've pretty much learned everything now, but in the beginning you're kind of figuring out why is she like this. Not to spoil, but it kind of comes down to like her upbringing and the trauma that she's gone through. So this book is definitely interesting as it is lighthearted and more of a comedy, but then there's also a lot of darkness to it. So if you're into dark humor, I would recommend it as well. But yeah, you just kind of find out a lot of the bad things that have happened to Eleanor in the past that have caused her to be so socially inept and just not really understand things that like normal people understand. But that can be quite funny. Like that's one of the things that leads to a lot of humor in this book. And then it's really nice because over the course of this book, I think she is learning a lot and gonna become just like a better version of herself when she, okay, I should probably explain like more of the plot. So she works at this office job in like the accounting department or something. She's worked there for like 9 years, and then this new guy starts named Raymond, and they end up saving this man's life together. And so they sort of bond and start like spending more time together. And I just think he's a really good like influence. I don't know if it's gonna get super romantic. I hope it does though, because I think it would be cute. But he's just sort of like helping her have more like social outings and stuff like that. And she's just trying to like improve herself and like kind of understand how to take care of herself better, like her appearance and stuff like that as well, and just how to be like a nice, polite, successful person. So yeah, it was a little like iffy at first, but I'm definitely coming around to it more. It's a holiday today, thank God. So I'm gonna hopefully just binge the rest of the book today. My boyfriend's working, so just have the place to myself. But yeah, I think that's all for now. So moments ago I finished Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, and I really loved this book. I think I would give it 4 stars, only docking it because the beginning wasn't as great as the second half, which is a theme in this vlog, but it ended up being so good. Definitely different than what I expected. It definitely got a lot darker and took on a lot more serious themes than I was expecting from like this cute little cover and what it said on the back. But I really loved that mixture of those deeper topics with the comedy and just the heartwarming aspects as well. It was really cute. I do wish in a way that the romance was a little heavier in this book, but I also, on the other hand, really like how it was done and how it was so minor. That's something to know, I guess, if you read this. Like, it really is just a character study basically on Eleanor, and she goes through so much in this book. And while she was like annoying me at the beginning of the book, you just come to love her so much by the end. I really adore her character. I feel like she's very just lovable. I don't know what to say. I really recommend this book though. I will say that reading these 3 literary fiction books this week has been a little bit like heavy. Like, I don't know if I'll do this again, reading all these like darker books like so close together, because all of them were quite similar in that they dealt with these like heavy topics and were not really depressing. Like, they always had sort of like a happiness to them. Well, this one didn't really. But you know what I mean? Like, they weren't so sad, but they still were like sadder than like your average book, and it's kind of like a lot. Like, I feel like it was a lot of like heavy content for me this week. Yeah, I think my least favorite was Little Fires Everywhere, even though I still think it was good. It just, I was expecting more from it, as I said. Then I liked Eleanor, Oliphant, and I would really recommend this book. I don't know if I should give it 5 stars. I just feel like I have to give it 4 stars just because I didn't love it since the beginning. And then my favorite book of this vlog would be Beartown, which is not a surprise. That's kind of what I expected because of how I've heard people talk about it. And yeah, I really want to read more of Fredrick Backman's work. Apparently there's a sequel to this book, Us Against You, which I have not heard people talk about. Like, everyone talks about Beartown, but not the sequel. So I wonder if it's just like not that good. But I do want to read that one just to see, because it's following the same characters. And there's something that is like alluded to in this book that I'm curious about reading more of. So anyway, that was this vlog. I don't know how interesting it was, but thank you guys for watching anyways. If you made it this far, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, of course. That would mean a lot to me. As always, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys in my next video.